Well, hello and welcome to Old People This Week. My name is Jeff, and that rascal there, who used to do things on the back of a horse, that in my generation we did in the back of a car, that's Mike.
Good morning, Jeff. No worse for the wear, by the way.
No worse for the wear. Old People This Week is a podcast for sprightly, mentally agile people who are 60 years of age and older. If you are under 60 and somehow accidentally straggled in here, then you can go back to your Tinder, your Reddit, or your TikTok. But if you want to learn something, hang around because Mike and I are the two smartest men on earth.
Ever.
For you people who are of age, you'll have all the stories, the dirt, the gossip, and basically everything you need to know going into the weekend so you'll sound smart with your friends when you're hanging out at the golf course, on the paddleball court, playing parcheesi, or of course, where Mike and I do all of our research at happy hour.
At the bar. And a little tip for those of you ordering martinis, which is all we drink, of course, shaken, not stirred. Always request no fruit, which means no olives, no twists, anything that might displace gin.
Yes. Don't want to displace the gin. They know about Mike. There's bartenders that run and hide when they see you come in.
Yeah, their arms get too tired shaking the drink. Their fingers stick to the shaker.
That's right. All right, everybody, please subscribe. If you subscribe, Mike will come over to your house with a lemon meringue pie and share it with you if you like. We have a couple of new subscribers that I'll get to in a minute, but that's always good news.
Yeah, we love that.
Send us an email, oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We'll take any questions, comments. You can tell me how handsome I am and how great this new shirt looks.
Sure. This, by the way, is history making because it's the first time you've ever appeared in public wearing a collared shirt. Looks very natty, by the way, I must say.
Target, $21.
You big spender, you.
My wife could convince me to buy this thing. If you don't want to subscribe here on YouTube because you don't like our ugly faces, then you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and subscribe there. Also, check us out.
But why would you?
I'm sorry?
But why would you?
Why would you?
You can gaze upon this.
Oh, yeah. That haircut. Self-done haircut.
Self-inflicted. Save $35 a week with this haircut.
You wouldn't get your haircut weekly anyways.
Oh, yeah, it grows pretty quickly, but, this resolves all those issues. What'd you do to yours, by the way?
Just slicked it back. I'm going to get a haircut tomorrow, and it's $40, by the way.
Yeah, that's crazy. Why would you do that?
Check out our 52 tasks at Substack, 52tasks.substack.com. Last week we talked about the benefits of dancing. This week we're going to teach you how to find your brand, which is very important. We did get a couple more subscribers, as I said, but we also got a letter from a viewer. It was very short and to the point. It said, don't make fun of Danny Trejo. He is a god.
We didn't make fun of Danny.
We kind of did.
Terrific.
No,
we were a little concerned about an 80-year-old guy jumping out of a car to go take on a bunch of yahoos. But no, Danny's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's cool. You have a video here that the viewer is seeing. Mike, you're not seeing, but it's Danny sitting at his kitchen table, shirtless, and eating breakfast and allowing his little chihuahua to eat off his plate at the same time. Oh, Danny Trejo. Let's see what else. Oh, and we did get another note, but do you remember last month, about a month or 4 to 5 weeks ago, we did that episode with Judge Judy, and it's still getting viewers. It's over 10,000 viewers now. And somebody sent a note based on that old podcast of ours, and it just said, it's simply, "Hello from Papua New Guinea."
Oh, well, it's good.
Yeah, I guess it's good.
Global reach.
Yeah, global reach. We've
Global
gone global.
reach. Yeah.
All right. Well, here's a faux pas I wanted to talk to you about and see what your opinion of this is, Mike.
Okay.
This past week, the other day was my wife and I's 29th wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
And, I know you've been married since Eisenhower was in office.
Since the ark hit the rock, yeah.
And I only post on Facebook twice a year because I don't like Facebook. So the twice a year when I do post is for our anniversary and for my birthday. I just do it every year. And so for our anniversary the other day, I posted a picture of Valerie and I taken on our wedding day. And it got a lot of comments. But one of the comments was from a woman named Janet who said simply, "Happy anniversary, fond memories of a great wedding," which was nice of her. But unfortunately, she wasn't at the wedding. She just wasn't there.
So who's Janet?
No, we know who she is, but she wasn't at the wedding. So she just
see.
chose to say that she was at the wedding. So I don't know whether or not the conundrum is, do I bother to set her right or just leave it go?
No, as old as you are and as antisocial as you are, to have anyone say something nice, you should treasure that.
I had a ton of comments, by the way. There was a lot of people that commented yesterday because I, unlike you, have what's called a social media following.
I try not to.
I have people sitting on the edge of their seats twice a year to see me post something on Facebook.
I'm afraid my parole officer will find out where I live if I have any following.
Yeah. The first thing I wanted to talk about, though, Mike, I'm hearing the stirrings outside of the gardener who's sneaking around out there already.
With the atomic-powered leaf blower.
Yeah. There was a lot of celebrity deaths this past week. They always come in threes, and there was 3 this past week of major passings: Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth, and Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, I remember. And James Sicking, remember him?
Yeah, no, I don't remember him. You sent me this email. Who is that? Is this person?
He was a face. You look him up, you will recognize him from every TV series or every movie you ever saw. James Sicking was a character actor playing either a bad guy, a good guy, a cop, a lawyer, or whatever. I mean, hugely recognizable.
All right, I'm going to put his picture here, and if anybody recognizes him, then send us a note. If not, that's Mike watching his obscure TV shows.
Hey, in Montana, you didn't have much choice.
You had TV in Montana.
Yeah, hand crank. You had to crank it up and run and sit down and watch it for 30 minutes.
Now I always can envision you and your family sitting around the radio listening to Jack Benny.
Hey, for years. That was exciting. Thing was taller than I was. It's a huge radio.
Yeah, they used to have those huge consoles.
Big consoles.
I was born in the age of television, not radio. So the first person we want to talk about, the first passing and extend our condolences is about Richard Simmons, the TV star, fitness freak, and entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He passed away. He's 76 years old.
The guy made Star Spangled Diapers a national institution. Yeah, you knew him, right?
When I was working at E! Entertainment Television, I'm a producer, and we were often sent out to do interviews, just assigned to go do them, and the interviews themselves might appear on news or the E! News, or they might have appeared in some other program they were doing. And one day I was assigned to go with a camera crew up to Richard Simmons' house and talk to him about whatever. This is probably the early 90s. And the camera crew and I got up to his house up in the Hollywood Hills. It was an all-white house. He had an all-white Mercedes sitting in front of it. And then we were led into the house, and the house inside was all white, meaning the walls, the floor, the carpeting, the drapes, the furniture. Wow. Literally everything was white. And then he took us on a tour of the house, and we went into his bedroom, and there he had like these little cubbies stacked up from floor to ceiling, little square cubbies that he kept his clothes in. And in one cubby was a little stack of white pants, and another cubby was a little stack of white shorts, and then there was one for his white shoes and white T-shirts, everything. He told us to go wait outside for him, so we went outside, and we were setting up out there to do the interview. And then he came out, and he was in this really funky, crazy, Richard Simmons-y kind of mood. He came up to me, leaned his head on my shoulder, and he was shorter than me, so his head probably came to here. Yeah. And he started singing the song Soldier Boy, like from the 60s. Soldier boy, oh my little soldier boy. I'm sort of freaking out. There's Richard Simmons leaning against me singing. So we finally got him set and got him and did the interview, and then got the hell out of there. But that was my Richard Simmons story. Soldier Boy.
Wonder why he picked that song.
I don't know. He was a bizarre guy. The only other thing I remember about that day is that while we were waiting outside in the back of his home, he had a small pool, and by small I mean it was long, probably 25 feet long, but it was only about 8 feet, 8 feet in width. The crew that I was with, they challenged me $20 if I would jump over the pool. I mean the width way, not the length way. Yeah. So I did. I put my stuff down, and they were standing there watching, and I took off and I jumped over that thing, and as soon as I landed on the other side, I plucked the $20 out of this guy, the cameraman's hand. That's what I remember about that day.
You're not a well person.
No, the famous story is my wife will tell you, she'll be bitching for days about this one. We were at a Labor Day party one year in the 90s, early 90s, and I got shit-faced. And we had brought food to this party on a platter. So we get out of the party, I get the platter, and I'm holding it up like a waiter and walking across the front yard of this guy's house. And he had a picket fence, probably 3.5 feet tall picket fence. Yeah. So there I am, drunk, holding a platter, and I decide to leap the fence.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I ran, and I jumped up in the air like a gazelle. And I came down, unfortunately, not on the other side of the fence, but on it.
On it.
I got a picket up my ass and dropped the platter and the whole thing, and I'm bleeding all over the place. And my wife, Valerie at the time, we were just dating. She thought I was absolutely nuts. She had to drive me to the hospital.
And that was the day you became a boy soprano.
Almost. It was that close. Fortunately, it hit my fat ass where it didn't hurt anything. Anyways, goodbye, Richard Simmons. It was a pleasure. You were great, funny, interesting dude. We'll have a drink in your honor this week at happy hour.
Yeah, he was an icon.
He was an icon. Next is Dr. Ruth.
Another icon.
Yeah, another icon. She was 96 years old.
God, she was terrific.
She was born in 1928. You remember 1928, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
At any rate, she was born over in Europe and Germany, and there was a long backstory to how she came to the United States, and she didn't actually become famous till she was in her 60s. But she was America's best-known sex counselor. The Wall Street Journal described her as looking like a cross between Henry Kissinger and a canary.
That's perfect. Yeah, she was terrific. I mean, I remember when she was on Johnny Carson, that was absolutely priceless.
Yeah, Carson could tease her, but she could take it, and she was smart, and she'd give it back.
Yeah, she'd give it right back. But he used to do that thing where he'd make a comment knowing it would elicit a certain response, and then he'd just kind of sit back and tuck his chin and wait for her to go off. It was great.
Got to the point where she was so famous, and she had a daily show, a sex show called Good Sex with Dr. Ruth Westheimer on Lifetime cable network. She was deadpan, and she was able to do it live, meaning she didn't, if these television shows, she took live calls, and so she was interesting, funny, off the cuff, so to speak. And I remember she got a question, some viewer, a male guy, asked her a question. I don't even remember what the question was, but I remember her answer was, don't do that while driving.
that encompasses a wide range of potential sexual misdeeds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, at any rate, adios, Dr. Ruth, and Mike and I will raise a glass to you as well at happy hour.
Absolutely.
The third person who we were going to discuss this week, who had a untimely demise, was Shannon Doherty. Tell me, Mike, what the hell happened to her?
She was the it girl for a while in Hollywood on 90210, and then that follow-up series Charmed. But she kind of lived life her own way. She was a handful, but she never apologized for it. She never let Hollywood mold her into that press release figure, and she was unapologetic about it. And it was just a damn tragedy. She got cancer in 2015 and was fighting it ever since, and handled it by all accounts with a hell of a elevated sense of dignity, and just dealt with it.
Yeah, she was cute. I used to like watching the show to watch her. She was super cute.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Shannon. You did it your way.
Yeah. All right, that's the third drink we're going to have this Friday.
All right. You're driving. No, you're not, because I remember the electric bike incident. I'll walk.
I'll walk at home. Walk up the hill home.
Yeah.
Sad figure.
Sad figure.
In other news, we've been talking about Alex Baldwin. Well, guess what? Alex pulled this one out. He's the judge in his New Mexico trial. He was charged with involuntary manslaughter for shooting and killing this Halia Hutchins, the cinematographer on that movie Rust. He claimed he never pulled the trigger. Nobody knew how the live ammo got into his gun, but he got out of trouble. They dropped the charges.
Apparently, the prosecution mishandled evidence, substituted some bullets, or submitted the wrong bullets, or did something stupid. And unfortunately, with this ass, he'll go away thinking it was all about him. Probably won't bother his conscience much longer that he actually killed a human being.
The misconduct of prosecutors, they found out that the prosecution didn't tell the defense, and the defense didn't learn that a person had brought in another box of ammo to show the prosecution that there may have been a way that the live bullets got mixed in with the dummy bullets and got into that gun. And they didn't bother telling the defense. The defense found out about it after the fact, during this trial, during one dramatic testimony during the trial, and they just immediately asked for a mistrial, and the judge said, okay, so it's over, done, and he can't be tried again.
Yeah, no, they dismissed it with prejudice, so he's free and clear.
Yeah, he's
to go do his reality TV show, showing off his 7 children.
7 kids. He's been married 12 years.
Yeah. Where's Dr. Ruth when you need her?
She would have just said to him, here's a box of condoms. Take it easy, dude.
Yeah.
Another story that you need to know this weekend, because it might come up in conversation, is the headline of it was classic. Let me see here. It was nude guys save tourist after a random attack.
Is that priceless?
Where, as they put in the article, justice went full frontal in the Castro last week when 2 nudists took down a man attacking a tourist.
These 2 guys are walking down the sidewalk completely nude, strolling around as if that's just normal behavior.
I know.
Jesus Christ, I know.
That's what I didn't get. I've been to San Francisco, and you lived there.
Yeah, for 30 plus years.
So, but it's not a normal thing in San Francisco to see nude guys meandering around.
No, not even in those neighborhoods.
Right. So these two guys, like you said, are walking around naked. Their name is Pete Safera and Lloyd Fishback. And they spotted, as they described it, a crazy kind of pirate guy threatening a tourist with a blowtorch. All of this is, there's two naked guys. There's a guy who looks like a pirate. There's a tourist and a blowtorch. This sounds like a joke or something, but that's the way it was. A video from the scene shows the onlooker snag the blowtorch just before the attacker starts to punch the tourists. So basically, the two nudists sprung into action, and he nailed the guy, again in quotes, he nailed the guy with a right hook, and he followed up that punch with an underhand smack to the face, after which the attacker took off. If I was the tourist, I'd be thankful, even though these guys would have freaked me out running towards me, nude, but they did. They saved him from getting blow-torched in the face, which is not fun, by the way.
No, I'm struggling. Just all of these details could only happen in San Francisco, but for a blowtorch to be the weapon of choice. I mean, when was the last time you even saw a blowtorch?
I don't. Yeah, I don't. You're right. You see them on TV. I don't see them in real life.
No, you go to Lowe's.
Oh yeah,
Get a blowtorch.
Yeah, you see them at the Lowe's or at the Home Depot.
Crazy.
I don't know what you do with them.
You heat shit up, I guess, but you don't burn somebody's face off with them.
Brother. All right. This next story is one you're going to love. You've been over to my place and seen the gigantic cage, basically, that we have for our dog Truman.
Truman, because he's a huge dog.
He's a huge dog, and he was a rescue, and the rescue people that we got him from, they insisted we take in this kennel because he might bolt, and it's been a whole process to train him, but he basically goes inside of his kennel at night and he lays there. We do not lock the kennel, by the way. The door remains open in case he wants to get out and roam around, but that's what we have. Other people have regular dog beds, and you know what a dog bed looks like, and it's all determined by the size of the dog. They lay on the floor, they're fluffy. Sometimes they have bolsters around the outside to keep the dogs sort of nestled in them.
A little oval cushion, yeah.
Yeah, an oval cushion.
Yeah.
So we're on Costco.com, and they show a picture of what is called a human dog bed. They're selling for $99.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so I did some research on this thing because the picture of it is crazy. There's a woman in there. She's curled up in this human dog bed. And it turned out that it was pitched on the Shark Tank. And it's made by a company called Fluffle, P-L-U-F-L. It's approximately 25 pounds, so this is not a light bed. It's 32 inches wide and around 13 inches tall from the base to the top of the bolster. Well, I'm not sleeping with any dog, by the way. I've laid next to our dog, and as soon as I get up from being next to Truman, I'm covered with hair from top to bottom.
Yeah.
But now my wife's got this idea. She's seen this human dog bed. God knows there'll be one in our living room in a couple of weeks, and she'll be curled up in there with Truman.
No. You better jump in it with her then and keep Truman in the cage.
We were actually thinking of getting rid of the cage because it's got to the point now where either he's used to being in the house or he's not. So we're going to put the cage in the garage and only threaten him with it if he starts acting up. I'll just point towards the cage.
Yeah.
You remember that?
It's like your mom used to do with a stick.
With a stick. Yeah, our viewers that haven't heard all of our episodes, they don't know that my mom used to, when we were bad, she wouldn't even have to say anything. She'd just point towards the refrigerator because sitting on top of it was this implement of torture she called the stick that my brother or I would have to go get and hand it to her, and then she'd wail on our ass with it. But it got to the point where as soon as she would point towards the refrigerator, my brother Brad and I would take off outside, just running, defying her to catch up with us and use that stick on us. But she would outweight us. She was smart. She'd just wait till we got back home.
Yeah, slapping it in her hand waiting for you.
Speaking of slap, there is a new sport developed by the people who from the Ultimate Fighting Championship called the power slap. Oh my God, there he is.
There he is. On cue.
Right on cue.
There he goes. I love it when
And-
he revs it up, when he gets right by your window.
Does that deliberately.
He does. For $125 a month, you too can have a leaf blower come interrupt your broadcast.
That's all he does too. It's not like he's not pruning, he's not trimming, he's not doing anything else. He just comes every week with that giant blower, blows around, and he's out of here in 15 minutes. And then when he leaves a bill in the mailbox. So anyway, this Ultimate Fighting Championship people, UFC, have developed the power slap. So imagine, I'll show the pictures of it here, but imagine two guys standing opposite from each other. There's two judges behind the guy who's about to get slapped, and then the one competitor has a free slap at the other one. And the way that the guy in the New York Times described it as he saw it, he said, when the meaty palm of Vlasic Kamatsky, a 360-pound, 34-year-old pig farmer from Siberia, nicknamed Dumpling,
Yeah, great.
when he struck the tender cheek of the man who faced him, it sounded like a thunderclap. Dumpling didn't appear to expend much effort. He swung lazily, the way you might bat a fly, but it was enough to send his opponent, Kamil Mazarov, a 26-year-old from Orland Park, Illinois, tumbling to the ground. Referees and the medical staff on stage at the Cobalt Arena at the Fontainebleau Hotel and Casino in Vegas last month rushed to check on Mr. Manzers. Any hesitation in the cheering and applause from the 3,500-person crowd was alleviated when someone with a clear view of the ring yelled that the Mazarov was still breathing.
Oh, good. That's the measure of success. They showed that on ESPN, by the way.
Oh, they did?
It's frightening. I mean, I don't give a shit how you define it. Head trauma is head trauma.
Yeah, when delivered by somebody who's 360 pounds.
Human body's not made for that shit. That's crazy.
Dumpling raised a fist, grinning in triumph as the announcer declared him the victor. The other guy was unmoving on the floor. The whole fight, if you call it as much, lasted about 30 seconds. Many fans agreed it was the highlight of the evening's 8 bouts, in which one pair of competitors after another stood their ground and exchanged ear-splitting slaps.
Crazy. What's the collective intellect of 3,500 people who stand and cheer that kind of behavior? I mean, good Lord.
Well, forget the 3,500 people that were in person. On YouTube, the videos of this sport have gotten 7 billion views in 17 months. And, all kind of critics are just basically saying this is the stupidest, this is a death wish, and if you do it, you're nuts. And this guy, Frank Lamasella, the president of Power Slap, had a different attitude. He said, look, there's two people hitting each other in the head, and if I were a doctor, I'd probably tell them, hey, this is maybe not the best idea, but if two people want to do it, we provide the platform, and we spend a ton of money making sure they're safe.
Oh, boy.
So the medical director of the Brain Injury Association of America had this to say in answer to that. A sport is a contest of athleticism or skill. This is merely your psychological ability to withstand blunt force trauma to the head. It's like seeing how many times someone can run into a brick wall.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh, God.
Well, this is like the Roman Empire. This shows that we're about ready to collapse when we're following sports like this.
Yeah, thumbs up or thumbs down.
Speaking of thumbs up and thumbs down, and the Roman Empire, the new Gladiator movie's coming out.
Oh, yeah, the previews look pretty good.
Yeah.
Is it 3 hours long, though?
I don't know. If Kevin Costner directed it, it's probably at least 3 hours long.
There you go again. You better quit taking shots at my boy.
I don't have to take the shots anymore. Hollywood's taking the shots now.
His bankers are taking this shot.
Well, according to him, he spent most of his own money on this thing.
Probably.
Yeah.
So the second episode, or the second segment, must be in the can already if it was slated for an August release, right?
Yeah, and also that is one of the things that didn't come up when I've been ragging on this thing for the last few weeks, is that actually he was smart enough, Costner was, that he, had put out all this money, but he actually shot two of the movies at the same time.
Same time.
So that he was only spending the equivalent of what he was going to spend on one movie, and he got two movies out of it.
Yeah.
So that
But
was
now,
smart.
the screening of the second segment has been postponed, right?
Yeah, they're pushing it back. It was supposed to be released in the fall, and now they're going to push it back maybe till early next year.
Yeah.
Just to give the time to probably promote it differently or figure out what they can do. Or maybe it'll go straight to Netflix or something.
Give me a chance to rest up so I can see the next 3-hour segment.
Give you a chance to get another, box of adult male diapers in so you don't have to get up on your seat for the next one. All right, here's a scam we have to talk about. This is a new, more sophisticated version of the old grandparent scam in which crooks call and pretend to be a grandchild who's been arrested and needs bail money to get out of a non-existent legal jam. Now, in the past, this was a small-time scam. They just hit you up for a few $100s or something. But now they've set up call centers staffed with young people who are paid a few bucks for every grandparent they can connect with. After posing as grandchildren who've been jailed after a car accident, they provide a case number and instruct the target to call their defense attorney or local prosecutor, and they give them a number. So when dumb grandpa calls up, the phony person who answers said, "Oh, do you have a case number?" It's a subtle psychological trick to see whether the grandparent is compliant and will follow their instructions and send thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars to rescue their grandchild out of trouble.
I remember a few weeks ago I told you this actually happened to friends of ours. We're at dinner with them one night, and the wife gets a phone call from the mother-in-law, and we're in California, and the mother-in-law's back in Ohio. Grandson has been arrested in New Jersey, and they need $7,000 to get him out of jail and pay the fines and stuff. And they were almost going to do it. I mean, they were figuring out how to get $7,000 wired to New Jersey. And I told her, I said, it's a scam. Just hang up. It's a total scam. Call your son. Find out where he is, first of all. And I'll guarantee he's not in New Jersey in jail. And they called him, and he was in Mexico on vacation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good call, because that's what happens. You get panicky, and all of a sudden you're sending money all over the place to get somebody out of jail, and they're not in jail. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, I have relatives that if they were in jail, it's probably the best place for them. I'm not going to send any money anyways. But this goes to our bigger, our issue that you and I bring up every week, which is don't answer
the phone.
No. You don't need to be talking to anybody. You don't need to be, if the phone, if it's your spouse, if it's your kids, and then you carefully check their ID when they call you, make sure that you're actually talking to your wife or your kids. But other than that, you don't need to be talking on the phone with anybody.
Yeah, insist on a DNA sample. Tell them you'll stand by.
Before I send $7,000, I have DNA for sure. Proof of life. What I want.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Our final story, as always, takes place in the great state of Florida, in Polk County, wherever that is. And the headline speaks volumes. Melted Almond Joy bar leads to Florida man death. And this story, I'm going to try to tell it in some kind of logical way because it makes no sense and it's so ridiculous. There's this guy, Henry Maynard, and he's 19 years old. and he goes over to his grandma's house, and he brings his computer with him, and he's going to, I guess, play video games there or whatever a Florida man does on there. A Florida man is not on there like doing homework. A Florida man's goofing off on the computer.
Yeah, no, he's trying to get $7,000 out of his grandma.
Yeah, probably running a scam. So he falls asleep next to his computer. Now, Grandma, being nice, comes in, sees he's asleep. She has an Almond Joy bar with her, and she's going to leave it for her favorite grandson, Henry. Well, things went awry. The Almond Joy bar melted and got all over the computer. And when Henry woke up, he went berserk. And I mean, when I say he went berserk, the rest of this story, just imagine a guy, and he didn't just like pass over him. He didn't go get angry and just start sobbing or something or scream at his grandma and go home. He went berserk, and it lasted for the next few hours. So first, he runs outside and then continues to run down the road a mile to his parents' house, where he got a bag. They never said what was in the bag.
Yeah.
And he jumped in a car that was neither his car, nor was it registered, nor does Henry, have a driver's license. But anyways, he jumps in this car, drives back to Grandma's house. Grandma's standing out front of the house, and she had, meantime, when Henry had run off, she had called his parents and said, "Come here, Henry's going nuts." So the mom and dad, they in turn called the sheriff's office. So now mom and dad and the sheriff and Henry all convened back at Grandma's house about the same time.
Oh, great.
But not quite the same time, because Henry got there first and backs the car into Grandma. She goes down. She goes down and breaks her arm. And then the sheriff, who's still in the patrol car when he gets there, Henry sees this cop car show up, and he, as they put it, T-bones his car into the sheriff's car, meaning he hit it so hard. I have a picture here. Hit it so hard that it basically crushes his car and the sheriff's deputy's car. Then, still out of control, Henry doesn't listen to his parents who are screaming at him. He goes over and just starts pulling on the door of the sheriff's car as hard as he can, as many times as he can, and it cracks open, and he jumps into the sheriff's car, still in a rage. The sheriff, thinking that this guy has rammed his vehicle and is now inside of his car attacking him, takes out his gun and shoots him.
Yeah, which you're trained to do.
Yeah. So Henry is shot, crawls back out of the car, falls to the ground. Dad runs over, tries to give his son CPR. It's too late. Henry is dead.
Dead.
Over the fact that an Almond Joy bar melted on his computer. So Grandma's lying there with a broken arm. Sheriff's freaked out and has got to go, defend himself now because he shot a guy in his car. Henry's dead, and the parents are traumatized from watching all this. Hello, the Sunshine State.
Jesus Christ. We will not go there. Literally or figuratively.
No matter how many stories we've done on the state of Florida, which is, by the way, about 30 stories, this one is pretty good. There's been other toppers, like last week's, where the guy opened a beer can using an alligator. Yeah. But they're all pretty crazy, and so...
They just get better. Just when we think we've heard it all, they get better.
Well, R.I.P. Henry, whatever your last name was. At least have the dignity to give him his last name. Henry Maynard, 19, rest in peace. Mike and I will have our fourth drink on Friday tomorrow to commemorate your passing, and whatever. There's nothing more to say.
No, that's beyond words.
On that note, we have to end this podcast for this week. So all of you, please subscribe. If you subscribe, Mike will come over to your house with a lemon meringue pie, and it'll be good. Guarantee it.
It'll be good because I made it myself.
That's right. Homemade from scratch, by the way, not bought at a grocery store.
That's right.
Send us an email to oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We take all questions, comments. We know everything, so we'll tell you anything you need to know. Check out our Substack, 52task.substack.com. And check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever. Or come to our house and we'll do this with you in the same room. It'll be a pleasure. Everyone have a great weekend. I know we will. My wife's going away for the weekend, so I'm free, which means I get to watch whatever stupid movie I want to watch with nobody telling me I can't.
We're trying to drag you to church or a movie theater.
Nobody's going to say you have to go to church this week or go to a movie theater. Both places which I can't stand. Anyway, that's it.
Right.
Mike, it's great seeing you. Have a good weekend.
Adios, do the same. Bye, everyone.
Bye.